And we are live.
Hey everybody, welcome to AKA Geeks. I am Sean. Today's episode...
Thor. Yeah, I was the same way with that character when I first seen it. And it's like, I'm like, he's talking about the Infinite Stone. I'm like, wait a minute. And then when I seen it the second...
You know what? That was in one of the extended scenes. Because
Yeah,
I
it's an
remember,
extended
and he was like, and he swings his fist out.
But, see, the thing is, I know, obviously, it makes sense why they cut that out, because it didn't fit that movie.
Yeah.
But it could be from that, it could also, that could be something that you're going to say that that's your prediction.
Well,
But it could
well,
also be,
no.
that's like one of your predictions. Because remember, during the podcast last week,
Yeah.
I talked about the article where the Russos, like, they talked about some of the things they did to avoid spoilers.
Like, they didn't get a response.
That's what I said in the
Yeah.
podcast last week. That
But
they
that's,
took so
I think they also did that in another movie. They gave out fake movie scripts, and I forgot which one it was. And when they got it back...
that director or whatever, the second team director or something like that. So, what else, Lynn? Give us some, an Iron Man relationship. I mean, by Strange and, I mean Doctor Strange and Iron Man. I loved how we got two arrogant people that have, for the most part, they've tried to change who they are. Hint at something else from the comics.
yeah,
as well.
which the cauldron's a lot smaller in the comics. Just so you know, it's not a standing piece of furniture like that one was.
Lynn's frozen.
Am I?
Yeah.
No, because I'm. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I see it. Well, keep going. It'll fix itself, hopefully.
At least it's not a bad pose.
No,
like
it could be worse.
Like I was last time.
Yeah, with your mouth hanging open.
I was like that or something. But that relationship between them, and then how it, I mean, for as short as this movie, I mean, this movie's not short, but for just this movie, their relationship goes from, all right, you're overstepping your boundary. No, you're overstepping. You know, we're clashing about what we need to do. Then to the point of I'm saving his life as a professional courtesy, and then I'm not going to save you. I'm going to save the time stone. Oh, I'm going to even let the kid die. And then to the point at the end where he barters for Tony's life,
Yeah.
which we get into that later. But their relationship was so, I loved it. It was so dynamic, right?
Yeah, and it wasn't forced. You could tell at first they were very at odds, but then towards the end, something clicked where they knew that, hey, we're all in this together, so we got to make it count.
Yeah. You add Spider-Man and the cape in there, in that scene on the ship where Spider-Man comes in and says, hey, a throwback to Civil War.
Yeah.
You remember that really old movie, Aliens? Just like, remember that really old movie, Star Wars Empire Strikes Back, where they get the walkie things on the snow planet?
He's got to stop with that, because that runs old with me. Because they're not that really old films.
It's
for
more
him.
Well, don't think at the old part. It's because he's a kid. He's 15 years.
No, I get
16.
that. But if all his lines start with, you remember that old film, and it's something that's just a little bit more pop culture, then...
I don't think it's all. It's been 2 lines.
Well, no, but my point is, don't ever have him say it again, because it will run old. It will get old.
Fast.
Yeah.
Well, so speaking of pop culture references in Spider-Man, and we're still kind of staying on this train with these characters going in.
Yeah.
Later on in the film, when Tony Stark's giving the idea pitch to everybody, and Drax tells Star-Lord, tell him about the dance-off for the universe.
Oh my God, I'm
and
like,
he goes, no, not right now. And he goes, dance-off for the universe?
oh, it was nothing. It was nothing.
Goes, you mean like Flash dance? He goes, yes, exactly like Flash. Footloose, I'm sorry, Footloose, exactly like Footloose. He's like, is that still the best movie of all time? He's like, it never was.
Poor Star-Lord.
I love that part. You can see his face just got all broken and hurt. It was so hilarious.
And I thought this film was all about the facial hair for the guys. Outside of Peter Parker, everybody had some stylistic facial hair that I was like, really, guys? Can't somebody outside of Peter Parker just be clean shaven?
Nah.
So what about some of the other relationships? What about the relationship between Scarlet Witch and Vision? We're now seeing them start to hook up, and they are housing.
That's already true to the comics.
That was already I was expecting that from the get-go.
Yeah.
I get that, guys. But we're not watching a comic. We're watching a movie.
Yeah,
so,
but my point is, from the end of Civil War, when they were getting cozy.
Distracted. I know
Yeah.
that. I know. I get that. I'm saying, how do you guys feel about it? Was it well done? You guys like it? I like the relationship between them. I like what they did with it. I liked how they showed that in these 2 years since Civil War, it's grown a lot, and they've gone out of their way to be with each other.
I felt that I appreciated it. The only thing that bothered me is that I felt like at the same time these two were punching bags for the Order. And I'm like, oh man, they're like the Romeo and Juliet of the Marvel Universe. Like, they're sneaking glances, they're sneaking kisses. They're not meant to be together because one side's
think about it, you were one of being the Romeo and Juliet.
one side's Cap's secret Avengers, and the other one's Iron Man's full blown government Avengers, and, and they're stealing little kisses in the night, planning trips.
They're supposed to have a kid, aren't they?
Two
kids.
Two
kids.
Yeah.
So I'm just they're getting it on. They're getting down. They're getting freaky deaky.
Yeah.
I like what she does though with the relationship. The only thing sucks, but it's not sucky in a way that it's a bad movie. It sucks because it's this thing that I'm about to mention happens is that she is one of, if not the most powerful Avenger.
She is one of the
if not the most, and she is not paralyzed, but she is withdrawn because she's so worried about Vision, and she could have helped the team so much in certain situations. So it's like it's cool that they love each other so much that it is withdrawn her to just protect Vision.
See, I love the development for Scarlet Witch, but at the same time, I hate how they scale her in power, because this is a woman that her hex powers, if she says one sentence, it could change the entire ramification of the universe, how it's laid out. Yeah. Just by saying a sentence. That's how her hex powers work.
Actually, if I remember correctly, isn't it one word's not a sentence?
No more mutants was one.
Yeah, a few words. Not even a sentence.
But it's a sentence. It's a short sentence. But and that's just like Thanos snapping his finger. She has that type of magnitude of power already instilled inside her. And where they were trying to emphasize her being this powerful being that she could destroy one of the Infinity Gems, at the same time, I don't think that really came across as strong as it should have. Yes, she got the deed done, but it felt like it was too slow to build up that tension.
You see it in the fighting scenes that she was powerful, because one of the characters, one of the Condians, even said, "Where was she?"
Yeah, why was she sitting? Yeah. Why was she sitting back? I thought Denai was awesome again.
Oh, the women in this film, I think, again, just like with the Black Panther, the women in this film did a great job. When Scarlet Witch says, "I'm gonna go get Vision right now," because they started fighting up there, and she gets hit by what's her name? Corvus Glaive's wife. She gets hit by her, knocks her down. She goes, "Oh, and you're all alone." And then Black Widow goes, "She's not alone." And then Okoye is right behind her as well, and they start fighting together. But not only that, there's other moments too, especially when the moment earlier in the film when they're in Scotland and the Vision's just been attacked and damaged really badly, and you got Black Widow right there doing just as much as Cap does to take down in that moment to stop Corvus Glaive and whatever her name is.
Demona something Demona along the lines.
Demona Midnight.
Demona Midnight.
Yeah, Midnight whatever.
The last name is Midnight.
Yeah, it's last name Midnight. But at that moment, like, you have Black Widow doing just as much as Captain America and Falcon in that scene to stop them before they get beamed back up, Yeah. And so I feel like in this whole film, there's women. They're more than pulling their weight. You got Wanda over there who has to fight everything inside of her, wanting to save Vision, but does the necessary thing to blow up the.
I think Black Panther really opened it up because of how much
Proxima Midnight.
But I think Black Panther really opened it up for everybody, because now, with how in the middle of everything the females of Black Panther were now they're focusing that the female Avengers actually could be, just on their own. And to be quite honest, I would have loved to seen, if Gamora was there with them and Mantis, I would love to have seen all 5 of those women in a room. Like,
you forgot one.
No, but I'm talking about Gamora, Mantis, and then those three. Those I'm speaking for those five.
Black Widow, Scarlet Witch.
Yeah,
You still forgot one. You forgot her sister.
I didn't. Whose sister? Black Panther's
Gamora's-
sister?
No, Gamora's sister and Black Panther's sister.
Nebula and Shuri.
Well, Nebula. I'm speaking of just straight up Guardians and straight up Avengers with Panthers. Royal Guard.
Panther's Royal Guard and Panther's sister. Because you got to remember.
She was off the field. I'm talking about the fighting females,
on
the
that
fighting badasses. Let's just put it that way. I would love to. I could see a movie with just those 5 females, and I bet that could carry its own.
You can also throw in
I'm not going down this route. Yes, I understand, but I'm telling you what I would prefer to see. Those 5 by themselves could carry a movie. That's how well written those female scenes were.
They were really done really well, and
Yeah.
they're not taken for granted at all.
They're shown as strong. They're shown as independent, and they're shown that they can hold their own against anybody.
Yeah. You mentioned Gamora. Let's talk about what Gamora does in this film. Gamora, I feel, I think she does a good job. We hear a sentence in the film about Gamora that shows you how deadly she is. That Thanos says, "Oh yeah, she snuck onto my ship a few weeks ago and almost killed me.
Yeah.
Trying to kill me. It was almost successful."
Well, Nebula.
And about not Gamora. I'm sorry, about Nebula. And to me, that shows me, like, for all the time that we see Nebula being super angry and having fits and all that, she is very skilled as well. Very skilled. And her being tortured, that scene was, I thought it was awesome. The way the camera showed her, and it looks like she's just floating there, and then it kind of pans to the right, and
you see her broken up.
she's being tortured.
Yeah.
And Gamora, who sees this, has already has now become aware of how Nebula felt, that she allowed her to be tortured because all she cared about was winning, not about her sister, and maybe sharing the damage or sharing the pain just to avoid pain herself. This is the moment where Gamora realizes, like, I can't let her be, tortured like this.
Yeah.
I thought Nebula does well in this film. I like her, and I like Ed. Like, you would see the other ones. I think Nebula, you could throw her in there as well.
Yeah, you can. Basically, all the females that had
did
could hold their own film by themselves, and you wouldn't have to worry about it.
Yeah. So we're talking about that relationship with Gamora as well, but let's talk about Gamora let's go to the Guardians of the Galaxy. Eddie brought him up a little while ago. We meet them, and all the stuff with Thor happens, and they split up. Thor goes with Sweet Rabbit, Rocket Raccoon, and freaking Groot to go get a new weapon. Only can be held by a king, the Thanos killing kind, right? And freaking Rocket loves the idea of this.
Yeah,
because
he does. Because he's but at the same time, in that scene, they're showing how scared he is. Because if you remember, Quill tells him, he was like, the only reason you're going with him is because you'll be far away from Thanos.
And I trust that Quill is saying that because that's truthful, because they've been together. This is years after Volume 2.
Yeah.
Because Volume 2 happens in 2014, literally in the calendar of 2014. So that was 2 years before Civil War, technically.
Right.
Because the Guardians have actually laid out a calendar, a timeline. So we know at least where the Guardians are. So it's been a few years now. I imagine that Rocket and them they kind of know each other's all their ticks and everything. So yeah, he is scared, but I do also think he finds these new weapons tittillating. You know what I mean?
Oh, of course he does.
They are in the love of weapons.
He's a grease monkey. Of course, he likes putting. He's a tinkerer, so it's like you don't expect him not to want to find a weapon, and it shows when he's on Earth with the rest of what's left of the Avengers, and he's that whole scene with him and Bucky. And he's like, how much for the gun? The first one is, how much for the gun? He was not for sale. What about that arm? That's his tinkering mind, never stopping.
And then right after that, he says, I'm
going to get that arm.
I love that. That was amazing. Let's stick with that for right now. The Thor, Rocket, and Groot, or Sweet Rabbit. When they get to the Dying Star where Mjolnir was built, man. where Mew Mew was built, it was freaking. I
Mew
love
Mew?
this.
Did you say Mew Mew?
Yeah, Mew Mew.
He did.
Mew
Mew Mew.
Where Mew Mew was built.
Mjolnir.
No, I know how to say it.
Mew Mew.
I'm just saying, Kat Denning says it Mew Mew.
I know, but I'm just saying it's the fact that you said Mew Mew.
Dude, like the scene where Thor, he's like, "What are you doing? You're just some little man out in space." And he's like, "You just push the gas or whatever," and he freaking throws the shit. I think that this is a true testament. This scene with all this going on with the Peter Dinklage over there is the dwarf, the giant dwarf, which is a super like. I don't know. I thought that was really cool. The fact that he's still a dwarf, but he's a giant dwarf. I think this scene, this whole thing, shows us truly how powerful Thor is. He's over there taking the freaking might of a freaking star, right there. Freaking, oh god.
Well, he's a god. It's not like he was, because that's one of the things I loved is none of the films made Thor because there's been a lot of times in the books where nobody believed him to be the god of thunder. They believed him to be a man claiming to be the god of thunder. That maybe he's a nut job or something. And he's always been portrayed as a god in all three films. But it gets downplayed to everybody that's around him because they don't expect that. It was like, well, you look like like a guy, like Rocket tells him. It was like, what are you going to do out there? He's like, I got the ship and the thrusters. What are you gonna do? And I love that from the first time they showed when Thor, Cap, and Iron Man first met each other on the scene when they were fighting over Loki that first time, and he first did that spin of the hammer. I was like, oh my god, they've always portrayed Thor the correct way, which I appreciated, and that was just more examples of that.
It's like Thor can take damage. He can get stabbed and all that stuff and lose an eye, but his body like keeps on ticking. You know what I mean? Keeps on kicking. He's just so durable, just like the Hulk is.
Yeah.
Super.
Which they should be.
Yeah, which I love the fact about him because it makes me still feel like he is still in peril. You know what I mean? Like he could still die. That's what it makes me feel like. He could still die if something hits him the right way, right through his heart, like he went after Thanos. Yeah. You know what I mean? We'll get back to that part later, but this whole scene makes me realize like Thor needs to be leading the pack in the fight. You know what I mean?
Which he did. That last act once he got Stormbreaker.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying. I'm not saying he wasn't.
No. Yeah, I'm just agreeing with you on that.
Yeah, he needs to be the one that is the shield for everybody else. Everybody else needs to freaking support Thor to make him be the one that throws the final blow. Whatever, even if it's this movie, the next movie, if they do another Thor movie down the line with these people or something like that. He is freaking off the charts powerful. Which is good, though, because they still do a good job of making him feel like he has these... He can still get damaged.
I still want, in the next film, what I want to see is...
Hold on.
No, I want to bring this up while we're talking about Thor, because it has to do with Thor. This is the only thing I'm asking for from the Russo brothers. And if it's not in there, I won't cry about it, but it would be nice because the imagery would be great. Thanos in the middle, Hulk on one side, Thor on the other, and the three of them just a three-way slobber knocker, beating the hell out of Thanos and vice versa, him fighting the two of them off. Because just three powerhouse muscle mans just straight up bashing the hell out of each other.
You want the Russo brothers to grease them up as well, Lynn?
No, but I'm just saying it would be
for some type of particular oil with that grease.
Are you? No, I'm just saying you got two of the biggest, strongest superheroes with Thanos, and Thanos was like pulled Hulk off like nothing. He needs to have his one up now.
I'm not shaking your hand for a while.
Listen.
Staying with Thor.
I'm gonna leave it alone. Go ahead.
Staying with Thor, when he gets Stormbreaker and he calls the Bifrost and he shows up and he throws Stormbreaker right after coming through the Bifrost. Don't you guys wish like freaking Immigrant Song would have started right then? Like I was thinking freaking Ragnarok like the whole I was like it was in the back of my head like
I did too. But at the same time, I don't want that. I understood why they did it. Yeah.
Entirely.
Because it's not a Thor film, and it's not like he's on Asgard. He's on Earth.
Yeah. But in my head, in your head though, in my head at least,
yes,
it was like,
it was there. It was there.
It was it was playing.
The Viking Kitties, I call it. And you still have to find that music video on YouTube when it's done with Viking Kitty. Just do a search for Viking Kitty, because that song is what plays, and you will crack up.
Okay. I want to go back real quick, just a funny moment. I don't know if you guys caught this on your first or your second watch. I caught it on my second watch. It was when they show us right when they get to the Guardians and they're singing Rubber Band Man.
Yes. And
he's like, "All right, guys, let's get our mean faces on." And the camera is focused on Peter, but in the background you can see Mantis making this weird like.
Yeah, she's like.
And she's just holding it like.
But she's the only one who does it though. Everybody else like whatever.
And she's like, I started busting up in the theater. Nobody else was laughing, but I didn't catch it the first time, and I just started laughing because it broke me. I was like, oh my god, that's freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
And then even the stuff with Gamora and Star-Lord around that time of the movie, where we finally get to see them kiss and say I love you, and of course this is gonna happen because he's the only dude on the ship and she's the only woman on the ship, and he's wooed her with his dancing ways.
She's the only female? What's Mantis then?
What exactly?
The thing is, I'm making a joke because it's like other people have said, like, what other options do they have? But anyway, we saw this coming. It was going to happen. It finally happened. We get to see them say I love you and kiss, and it's really nice. She has a secret, of course, which she doesn't want to be known.
Which everybody knew about it, and that's the one little thing that bothered me watching it the second time.
Because that was predictable.
Well, the thing is, it didn't mean as much her saying she knew something, and not wanting to tell Quill about it, and yet Thanos already knew about it, and because he got it off of her sister, who she already told about it. So it was like
that was visible.
You don't want anybody to know about it, but you told your sister. Your sister got caught by Thanos. Thanos already knows it. He doesn't need you to tell him anything.
Yeah, they could have done without that whole promise thing.
Yeah,
I mean, but I was we'll get into this a little later. But there's something behind it. I think that that the filmmakers wanted to portray about.
For me, even though you could do without it, I thought it was good for the storytelling aspect.
I think it worked to elevate Gamora
the story
and Quill.
Yeah,
but outside of that, it was just it. That's it.
Yeah, there's some other things in there that I think connect to that as well as like an emotional plot element. I think, and I'll get to that a little bit later when we talk about some other stuff down the line. So when they get over there to nowhere after all this is happening. Thanos has already been there. We get to see Benicio del Toro. So Benicio del Toro, his character, the Collector, he's a Celestial, isn't he?
No.
I
thought he was a Celestial.
No.
Or is he
Nowhere is the head of a Celestial.
No, I know
but
that.
He's not. He's not. He's just like
sure?
one of the he's just like one of the ancients of the universe, something like that. He's not a Celestial.
Okay. Close, but not the same thing.
He's an elder of the universe.
Yeah, elder. Like Eon. Eon's one of the elders of the universe. The Watchers are elders of the universe, not Celestials.
So when they get there, they're tricked, and Thanos tricks them. But how did you guys like that scene where Thanos uses how this is our first time seeing how the Reality Stone works in Thanos' hands. How did you guys like how that worked? It changes your perception of reality.
Well, he already knew they were there, so he already had them thinking something that was,
Yes.
So for all we know, the Collector was already dead by this.
At that point, he probably was.
Yeah.
He more than was.
But I like that each of the Infinity Stones, except Soul Stone, was shown. We saw a little bit of their powers. They were, you actually saw them in action.
We actually saw some of the Soul Stone.
Not as well done as the other ones. Let's just put it that way.
I think they're keeping it tame for a reason. And again, we'll get into that. We'll get towards the end of the film of this discussion. But
Yeah.
did you like how they used that reality stone? How they used it right there?
I did. It actually made sense for me.
Yeah, I liked how they used how they focused each of the stones, but they think they did them all well because they actually showed them for what they're worth, especially like more so the time stone towards the end when he backtracks Vision to make him come back. He's like all that work for nothing because time is nothing, like he says.
Yeah.
So I think they were all representative well.
The one part, the part where I really liked how they used the stone was when we heard about how Thanos throws a moon, right? Remember that? We heard about that. How they have him throw the moon is he uses the power stone to break the surface of the moon, and then uses the space stone to grab the pieces and throw them down using the space stone. Because the space stone it's not just a teleporter, it uses the difference in spaces between objects, right? And so he uses that to throw parts of the moon. Because I was worried about that scene, hearing about it. I was worried that, like, all right, so how strong is he's going to literally grab, like, he's going to freaking do a Bruce Almighty with the lasso and freaking pull the moon down? You know what I mean? So I was really worried about that, and they made it somewhat realistic in the sense of a science fiction comic book superhero movie.
Yeah. That
the stone was able to get those pieces and freaking launch them down at the Earth. So it was like an asteroid kind of thing coming down.
Going from there, my worry was I didn't think they were going to have Thanos be as physical as they did until that act, because he is physical in the book.
In
the Infinity Gauntlet series.
He whoops Hulk's ass, so that's pretty physical.
But I'm talking about outside of that. I'm talking about when he got the gems, as he got it, he's going to be less active. That's what my worry was, because when he starts to get the gemstones in the Infinity Gauntlet miniseries, he does become less active, and everybody's trying to pile on him, and he's just pressing stones and stopping them from different ways, either zapping them out of the way or what have you. So I like the fact that they still had him active, really like throwing down with the group of heroes that he had to deal with on Titan.
That scene on Titan, when you put it all together, because they do the good cutting back and forth from one part of the story to the other part of the story, I thought they did that really well, the Russo brothers.
Yeah.
This on Titan, I loved this whole fight on Titan. I thought every part of it was freaking amazing. They almost have the gauntlet off them. You start to see how much of a badass Doctor Strange truly is, the master of the mystic arts. And he's just freaking pulling all freaking tricks out of his bag.
The rings of Cytarax, which I thought I would never see on fucking screen.
Yoga thing and he turns into 50 people?
No, the rings of Cytarax were the red bands that he used to hold Thanos' arms. And those of you who read comics knows that the rings of Cytarax have to deal with the Juggernaut. That's where he gets his powers from.
Yep.
So seeing those things and those elements of he finally cuts loose, even for a little bit, was just enough, because I'm like, yes, this is what I want to see. I didn't want to see the spinning shield again. You know, I don't want to see the whip that Strange does. He has so much arsenal that I'm glad that they expanded it a little bit more. They
used the shield things, but they used him in much bigger ways. You know, he's gotten so strong and, like I said, a master, that he's able to do things with it that we didn't think before. I think at this point he's probably truly surpassed the Ancient One from his movie. He's freaking just badass. I loved everything he did in there. The Guardians were good in what they did. I love the scene where Star-Lord jumps into the hole that Strange makes for him and flips him off. Yeah, it's freaking made me laugh.
And he calls out one of the, what does he say? He says, space something or what have you. He says a line before he flicks him off.
Like, I thought he said, see ya. I thought he just said, see ya.
No, he also makes a reference to, I don't know if it was one of these stones. I'm going to have to watch it again, which I have no problems with. But he does, each time, like, and then Spidey, when he bounces off of the other hole and hits
he was like,
Thanos.
Punch you in the thing.
Yeah.
Kick you in the face. Get you in the back.
Teleporting kick or something like that. He calls off his... And Star-Lord plays into that as well. And I forgot what his line was. Because it was... They were feeding off of each other through that. I was like, oh, that is so cool.
So I think I missed that. Then I maybe I didn't hear that when Starlo was saying that. But that whole fight, man, those so many moments in there when Peter gets hit and freaking Thanos takes him down.
And he calls him a bug.
Yeah, you insect. Oh, and I was like, that's freaking what he is.
Yeah.
It's so freaking good. I think in that scene though, Tony Stark again, he has come a long way, and he's so intelligent. He's been able to modify his tech to this point where it's nanobots, nanotech, and it's able to. Oh man, he's able to fight Thanos. Of course, he loses, but he was able to keep up a good fight. And like Thanos says, like all of that for one drop of blood. And he goes, "Yeah, my." And then the scene happens where. How did you guys feel when this happens? When Tony goes at him with the sword, and he breaks it off and stabs him. What did you guys think?
Dude, I thought, okay, we got our main debt that won't be coming back.
That's what I thought too. I was like, oh my god. I was like, and at the same time, I was like, that was super totally like deserving like a worthwhile death, you know?
Right.
I thought it was perfect, like worthwhile. He's the last one standing. He's done a ton of damage. Him and Doctor Strange have done the most in this fight, and he went out like a champ, you know?
Yeah.
At this point, my heart's breaking at that point, right? Doctor Strange, before all this happens, he does the whole where he's seeing the future, and he does the timelines, and he sees 14,605,000.
15 million.
Huh?
15 million.
No, 14,605,000.
Oh, it's 15.
Yeah, it's 14,605,000.
605. And he says only one where we win. And here's the funny thing about that statement is he doesn't say what that win costs. He just says that we win. You know? He doesn't say who dies. He doesn't say what damages are done. He just says we win. So ultimately, the end result is Thanos doesn't do what he wants to do. But from this moment on, and we can start going into our theories. My theory is that everything that happens right from that point on, Strange is seen as what has to happen for that one outcome to be
play
true.
out. Yeah, that's what I thought too. Especially when he
gives
tells
us the stuff.
and when he tells Tony why he
only way.
did it, he was like, it's the only way. Now I don't think Doctor Strange is one to just give up the fight, saying, "Yeah, And I think the reason why is because Tony has to be alive to get that victory for them.
And if you tell and in time travel movies, we've all seen time travel movies and TV shows. Once you tell somebody else about what happens in the future and what they're gonna do, that changes the future.
Yeah.
So he can't tell Tony. He just says it has to happen. This has to happen, and that's enough. And I think Tony's smart enough to know like we're on the path.
Well, see, but one thing that's good, and they haven't played up to it yet with Tony, but I'm hoping they will. Tony's what you would call a futurist. He always looks.
They mentioned when in Civil War when
right in the beginning of the movie too.
Right, but they usually don't emphasize it unless he's talking like with Captain Marvel more so, and I'm hoping that plays out more when she gets more of a feature because she's going to be more prevalent in the second film. So I'm hoping that's the case when between her and him, that dynamic that they'll have, where he explains how his way of thought is, and we'll see more of that. But I think everything from that point on, when he says those words to Tony, is he's seeing this. This is what has to happen. We'll get out of this. Like,
and I think Tony's smart enough to know, like, I need to do what I'm supposed to do instinctually.
Yeah.
And I don't need to know what he's gonna say because that could alter what I'm gonna do because I've already been, seeing this stuff.
Because Tony's driven right now. He's not going to stop.
Yeah.
And that's what Strange is hoping for.
Well, we're gonna jump back to. I'm gonna jump back to. There's something I'm gonna add on to this point later on. Let's jump to right at this moment. Freaking Thanos, Space Stone. He's over Wakanda again, right? How do you guys like how this final scene played out, where you have all of them, he's coming, he's just walking, all the Avengers are just going at him one by one, and he's just like knocking them out. And this is the point where Scarlet Witch has to take out Vision. She takes him out, and there's some cool stuff that happens in there in between with like Captain America grabbing the freaking glove, and Thanos, like, oh god, this guy's got some fight in him, and like, boom, sucker, you're out. When Scarlet Witch finally takes it out, and then Thanos, breaks her will by, you're back. Let me take that stone, sucker. This part up to here, are you guys cool with this? Because like I know you were just mentioning a little while ago, Lynn, about how he stopped fighting once he started getting the stones in the comic, and he started using stones to dispel people and whatnot. Were you guys cool with this? I thought that this was like a true power statement.
This is all Gauntlet, showing off the Gauntlet, because each stone was being represented there as well. While so. Everybody phasing through him, or him just pushing others to the side, whatever the case may be. That was all display of might coming from the Gauntlet. So from there it makes sense. It wasn't like this drawn out production. It fit. It was nice. It was compact, and then got the stone. My only hope is that when the Vision, Suri got enough of the items cut away from him for the stone, she could repair him, because she showed she's a lot smarter than Tony and Bruce.
Yeah.
So
the comics, she's supposed to be the third smartest in the universe.
Well, no, they made her seem like she was a lot smarter than both of them put together.
I think that she's smarter in her own aspects in the film. I'm not going to comment on the comics, but on the film,
they make her smarter than those two. Because she was like, "Why didn't you just bypass such and such?" I was like, "Well, we didn't think of that."
You also didn't. Have you guys really took a good close up Vision where he fell to the ground again without the stone?
Well, he turned colors.
Yeah, the colors. Those are the colors of the West Coast Avengers.
No, not really, because when he lost his color, he was completely stark white. He was a full on Vision.
He was gray.
He was grayish and purplish.
White. Yeah.
So when he lost all his emotions and reverted back to just the android synthetic that he was a stark white creature. Hence, So, and this, I know this was a play on that, but I don't think they fully went gung ho with that. So we'll see when.
It could be just an Easter egg for us as fans.
Right.
Yeah.
Here's the big moment. The big moment of the movie. We're like, crap, it's about to go down, guys. Something's about to happen, and Thor comes in with Stormbreaker, and we're like, holy cow. And then in this moment, I want to know what you guys are thinking, but I was thinking, like, it can't end like this, with one little, like, in the chest, and then what happens? We get him saying, you should have gone for the head, like that. What were you guys feeling when Stormbreaker hit him in the chest? Did you guys? I was thinking, like, this can't end this way.
No, I looked at it, I was like, I was with everybody else with cheering at the fact that he got Thor, and the fact that Thor was pushing in, because he was like, nope, you're not worth living. I'm going to push down on you.
For this.
Yeah. So the fact that there was that little bit of mean streak in Thor, I was like, yes. But
that's what I like too. I was enjoying that too. The only thing was that in my head I was still thinking, but it can't end like this. This is too easy.
See, I was on the same wavelength. This was the first time out that seeing it. I was on the same wavelength that I was right there with Thor. I'm like, no, motherfucker, this time you're done. You're done. You got to be done. I don't care. Push it a little harder. And then Thanos saying that to him was just more like another gut punch. It was like, fuck, damn it. Why didn't I think of that?
Stronger than you think.
Yeah. Oh, it's like, no.
When that snap happened and everything goes white real quick, and then at that point I think he goes into the Soul Stone, and that's what I was talking about earlier. Thanos goes into the Soul Stone, and he doesn't have the gauntlet on. The Stone World, Soul World, whatever you want to call it. It's within the Soul Stone, because the Soul Stone is supposed to be.
Yes.
I was reading that the Soul Stone, it's supposed to it wants people's souls in it. And so that's where I figured he was, and that's where Gamora is, because she gave her life for the Soul Stone.
I don't think she's in there. I thought that was his representation of what he expected to see.
Of her?
Hence why he saw her as a young child.
Yeah.
So, but everything that she acted was exactly what he'd expect. I'm with you on that. I do believe he was in the soul world and what have you. But
It was just his heaven.
Well, I was going to say more like it was a brief moment in purgatory.
Purgatory, I'd say.
Yeah, just that brief moment. Because I think that was a way of showing the audience that the universe is resetting itself under Thanos' way.
I think it was also showing us a way of bringing her back to life.
Well, bringing back anybody.
Gamora and anybody.
Anybody that disappeared.
Yeah, anybody from the snap. So the snap happens and people just start dissolving and, dying essentially.
The first one being Bucky.
Yeah, first one being Bucky. He goes Steve, and from there's downhill. The one that hit me the hardest, I'm sure you guys can guess, Peter Parker. Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good. I don't want to go. Mr. Stark. Oh my God.
Well, that didn't hit me as hard because I understand that he felt like he failed his surrogate father or what have you. Yeah, I get that. But to be honest, the one that hit me the most was Rocket and Groot, because Groot's reaching out for him, and he's just like falling apart. And he was like, "Oh no, not you, Groot."
That's the other one that people are saying that is hitting them is Peter Parker and Groot.
Yeah.
For me, it was the Peter Parker one because it also connects with Tom Holland did a great job there. I feel he did a great job with that, and supposedly it was the scene, whatever his lines were in that little death scene, were all improvised. So I mean, props to him. And then right after that, with Tony Stark with the sun right behind him in contrast, rocking, kind of like just not knowing what to do. Like that was so freaking emotional. Eddie, what about you? I didn't hear anything from you. Did you have one that hit you the most?
Hey, to be honest, it would be close to the same two that Len picked. The Groot and Peter Parker was the best one. So the best death scenes than all of them. So
yeah.
I think the most noblest one, and I think that was well done, was T'Challa when
he
was like,
trying to get a coin up. No place to die.
And this is not a place to die, and he just. I'm like, oh man.
And then you see Denai's face.
Yeah, because she's like, oh my God, what are we gonna do?
She's like aghast.
Yeah.
She is aghast. They show more people dying in the field, and you see Winston Duke, M'Baku. And he's just looking around like, what's going on as well.
Mm-hmm.
Astonished and everything. These deaths, like, I feel they did a good job of putting them into this, like filming them, having the actors do a good job with what they were asked to do. Yeah. They did a good job with this stuff. After this, right there at the end, they all come together. All the OG Avengers plus Rocket.
Conveniently.
Plus Rocket and. I actually think Rocket is. Nobody really talks about how smart he is. I think that proves Rocket's a genius.
Of course he is. He's the one who takes care of all the tech for the Guardians.
And then you have Nebula with Tony Stark. So those are the only two newer people that are left.
Yeah.
There's one word two words. Captain America goes, "Oh God," and it's just like he's so freaking broken. It seems. We get to see Thanos watching the sunrise, and it takes a second, but he's like feeling accomplished. He still has his wound at this point still. You notice that?
Yeah.
Still has his wound, and something happened when he did it. The gauntlet's all jacked up, and it went all up his arm into his neck. And this is where I wanted to jump back to Stephen Strange. When he said, spare his life, I'll give you the stone. I think, even though Thanos said no tricks, and he said no tricks, I still think he put a hex on the stone, because earlier in the film there was foreshadowing, in my opinion, of when Ma is trying to get the stone from him, he burns his hand and he says, "Oh, there's a pretty simple thing on there, but very much unbreakable." And then he's like, "Oh, I'll just take it off your body." He's like, "Go ahead, it's even worse." I totally think he put something on the stone that's going to come into play. I don't know how you guys feel about that. If you guys even think I'm even on the right path.
It's possible. I don't think they would steer that far out to make because to me I thought that the gauntlet they're going to either say wasn't made well purposely, because I think
It was sabotaged. Yeah, maybe.
Right. So, and it couldn't really hold all the essence of the stone, all the stones once it was used as big as it was, hence why it shattered the way it did.
It burnt and
yeah,
exploded.
it was basically mutilated. But I don't know how they're going to, because they got to piece that sucker back together, because it has to be in the second film. So how they do it is beyond me.
The end credit scene. We can start going into theories. Let's just finish up with the end credit scene, then we'll go into theories and all that stuff. The end credit scene is Nick Fury and Maria Hill driving, and that's right when the snap happens and people start dying, crashes. He has to get a freaking weird ass looking pager, and he pages.
You're talking to somebody who probably never had a pager in his life, Ed. Don't look at
Yeah,
him like
exactly. That's a pager but modified.
Yeah, no, I'm saying it's a funny looking pager. It's not like a normal pager. It's a pager, and it had 3 buttons. And so he gets it, and he sends a message, and he goes to Captain Marvel. So we'll see where it goes with Captain Marvel. I think it's definitely going to be a direct lead into the next one. And we'll see what happens.
I have one thing, and I want to go back to it before we get into our
yeah.
When Thor tells the Guardians how Xandar was destroyed because Thanos had went there to take the stone.
Yeah.
I find it hard to believe that they had no acknowledgement that Thanos went to Xandar.
That they had no knowledge?
Yeah. Because they looked completely stunned, floored. That here's this Asgardian who just dealt with, the whole Ragnarok thing and is floating in space with the rest of his Asgardians. Still knew that. How did he find out? Yeah. And then another thing is like, where's Valkyrie?
So here's the thing that I will say. When watching the movie the first time and the second time, it's really, you got to catch it really fast. But Thor says that Thanos killed half of his people. Not Hela. Thanos killed half of his people.
Yeah, I remember that.
And this is way earlier in the film, so this has nothing to do with the snap.
Yeah.
So half of his people died in the ship that got blown up. Half of them got away somehow. Whether he said, I'm going to let half of your people get in the escape pods. We're assuming that they got in there, but also Joe Russo, he was doing a interview at a high school for a School of Arts or something, right? Mm-hmm. Regarding the movie, and he said that Valkyrie's still alive. She got off the ship.
Well, I saw another article with them, and it said that both Valkyrie and Korg are still alive.
Well, if you let me talk, I was about to get to that.
Well, I didn't know you were mentioning Korg. I know the one that I read had both of them. Yeah,
he said that Valkyrie is alive, and it's perceivable that Korg is alive as well with her. He essentially that's what he said. So, well, my question is though now. So if Thanos let half of the Asgardians, that crew, live at the beginning of the film, when he did the snap, did it cut that half in half again, which is now down to a quarter? So if there was 400 people on the ship to start with, now there's only 100 people left.
You would think.
So 75% essentially of his Asgardians were killed. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So that's that. We know that some Asgardians are still alive somewhere. Shoot.
We're not doing the podcast tonight, that's for sure.
Well, we can't do it tomorrow. I got to go to my sister's graduation. She's getting her master's.
You guys got nobody to blame but Sean on this one.
So what was you brought us back to that about the other thing that I wanted to mention, and this could go into the theories section. Are you guys ready for theories and stuff like that?
Okay.
All right. So there's two sentences in the film that can mean different things. I think that Thanos says. The first one happens early in the film when he's attacking the Asgardian, and he looks at Loki, and right when he's killing Loki, he says. And he throws him down on the ground next to Thor. And he says, "No more resurrection this time. This time." So my thing is, okay. There's a couple things that I want to say, and then you guys totally break it down after that. Okay, so one, has he done this before?
Loki?
No. Has Thanos? Let me pose a couple questions.
Okay.
Has Thanos literally done this already? And that's why he knows, that he's not going to allow anybody to resurrect. And that's why he kills him outright.
No,
right? So
I think...
Loki, hold on.
Okay.
So Loki can't so Loki can't do any fake things? Or two, does Thanos somehow know that Loki faked his death in the Dark World? You know what I mean? Like, what does he mean by no resurrections this time? That's what I'm saying. Like, that can go different ways. I'm saying.
I think it just pertains to Thanos. I think he just knows Loki being the trickster god and finding a way out of things, even death, where he can find his way out of death by tricking death into believing he's dead, and then actually a little bit later you're resurrected. You know, so I think he just.
The other sentence is when he's talking to Gamora and he's gonna grab her and throw her off the freaking cliff. Is he says, and I'm wrong about the words, the verbatim, but essentially he says like, I'm not gonna miss this opportunity again, and he throws her off. So again, like I said, it leads me to believe, like, has he already had an opportunity with like this? Maybe not with the Soul Stone, but with another stone, where he didn't do it because he didn't want to give up Nebula or Gamora or something like that. Or maybe back when he was younger, when he allowed his people on Titan to die because he allowed them to overrule his.
I think that was more a reference to that.
You think so?
Yeah, how he still let the people of Titan do what they wish, and he still lost his people.
He didn't do what had to be done by killing half of the people.
Right.
So that was my thing about those two sentences, is that they could mean very specific things, but they could also mean very broad things, I thought.
Yeah.
So, theories. Just jump into some theories. Lynn, what do you got, man?
I'm hoping that Scarlet Witch and Vision got some type of semen inside one another, and we get to see some future twins. And here's why. For the reason why I say this, and let me finish before you guys start getting it all nasty and dirty, because I want to get to a point in time where I'm going to see the Young Avengers, and two of the members of the Young Avengers are both kids of the Scarlet Witch and Vision. We got Quick, who's the runner, like Quicksilver, and then we have Wiccan, who he has powers like his mother. So that's the whole reason why I'm bringing that up, because I'm hoping from this on out, because you are going to need new generation of Avengers. We are going to get people sliding out, whether it's at the end of the fourth film. We might be fully saying bye-bye to someone, whether we might be saying... I said fourth.
No, you said some.
I said fourth.
No, I mean, you're seeing four main characters.
No, I'm saying some, because it might, by that time, some other people's contracts might be up. So not just four.
I'm only aware of four. Right?
Question. I'm glad you brought it up, Lynn. Though
any type of phallic symbols or what have you. I just said I wanted to see kids be born because I wanted to see Young Avengers.
That's a
point blank.
You said semen in her.
Yes. In other words, I wanted him to implant his seed.
So you quietly implied.
You use medically articulate words.
Yes, I didn't use the phallic symbol whatsoever. I didn't say, I hope he put his dick in her or anything like that. I didn't expect him to have, phase his phallic member somewhere, somehow. I just said, I hope that some kids are coming because I'd like to see some Young Avengers. You guys took it off of the,
No, don't blame me.
Nope.
That was also
the moment you say yes, the moment you agree with him, you're a part of the problem.
No, I didn't agree.
Oh my God!
Do you have any more theories?
But outside of that, like I said, I expect like Yuri to take the mantle of Black Panther until we get T'Challa back. Shuri. Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, I expect to see her.
Well, here's the thing though. We don't know if they've regrown the purple plant.
By this point, we don't know how long it's been either. Like we know it's been some time since the Black Panther
2 years
film.
Since Civil War. I don't know how much time since Black Panther happened a week after Civil War, so it's been about 2 years.
Well, and also during, because remember it starts off from him.
No, it starts off a week after Civil War. Remember, he's watching the thing on the plane.
But it starts off with him burying his father as well. Because remember, they started at the beginning of the film with him talking about the. It's
on and off.
Yeah, it's not.
It's during and after.
It's during Civil War. It's not during Civil War. It's a week after Civil War.
He buried his father. It's not a week after because they're implying that he's in and out of there. He's going back and forth between Civil War and that.
What do you, no,
Not
he's
that
on the
much.
plane at the beginning of the movie, and he's watching the thing, and it says it's been a week since King T'Chaka died.
And he's on his way to bury his father. They were talking about the news article.
Been a week since this. Civil War took place over like 2 days.
No.
Yeah, it did. But anyway, it's been 2 years since Civil War, so you're saying you want Shuri possibly in this moment of when there are only them left.
And it would fit just like in the books. It would be something different for, the Avengers films where what's her name? Agent Carter. They put it on one of the Captain Americas before they did the TV shows.
Yeah.
Something which is like, it was almost a short movie film, so.
It's like a 7-minute, thing.
If you're talking about shorts on the DVD, maybe, but if you're talking about a movie, standalone movie,
it won't happen.
You're not going to see this Paramount still owns the rights for the Incredible Hulk.
Well, hopefully that'll change.
Before Infinity War. So I get what you're saying, Eddie, but to us on the outside, in real life, IRL, she hasn't been introduced. So well, let's count those three. Hawkeye and
you said five.
You said five. So who are the other two?
Adam Warlock.
Well, hold on. To be fair, Adam was mentioned.
Put him on a side. Let's put him on. You're talking about Captain Marvel. Assuming he's the other.
Five.
So Adam Warlock. Here's what I was thinking. Now that you brought Adam Warlock up, because James Gunn has said that he's working on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 script, right?
Yep.
He's working on it for months now. And he's also said that he might break the continuity of the universe with it because he wants to make a good movie. I think he's just joking around when he says that. But here's what I'm thinking. Guardians of the Galaxy can totally take place before Infinity War, and they can introduce Adam Warlock partially some way in number 4, Avengers 4, but then when Guardians 3 comes out, the whole actual thing with Adam Warlock unfolds.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Because here's the other thing this is my thought process with this. Because Spider-Man, they hired Tom Holland when he was 18 to do Spider-Man because they want to keep him in high school. In the first Spider-Man Homecoming, it was months. It was, I think they said 4 months or 6 months. They've stated in interviews and everything. It happens 4 to 6 months after Civil War, the course of the film. So if they're going to jump ahead 2 years or a year and a half, he's now a senior in Infinity War. You don't have much more time to do 2 and 3 of Spider-Man with him still being in high school. I think Spider-Man Homecoming 2 is going to take place before Infinity War when Spider-Man's a junior or whatever in high school. The next year.
Or even a sophomore, for all we know, because he wasn't.
Yeah.
So it could be. His films don't have. The Spider-Man films don't have to fit in timeline for all of them.
It is fitting because reading up, I just looked at Phase 4. There's only 3 movies confirmed for Phase 4 so far. And Spider-Man 2 is one of them.
Spider-Man 2, Captain Marvel.
Yeah, Phase 4. Spider-Man 2, Galaxy 3, and Black Widow. Those are the next 3 for Phase 4, after Avengers 4.
I saw another image that changed that. So I forgot where I saw it, but yeah.
No, I'm with Eddie because I've read the same thing, Eddie, that there's only 3 confirmed at this moment. I think Spider-Man Homecoming 2 is good because in Spider-Man Homecoming 1, he's a sophomore. He's 15 years old. You're not a freshman who's 15 years old unless you're going to graduate when you're 20. So he's a sophomore, and so he's going to go to be, if they want to keep him in high school, they're going to do 1 per year or whatever. It could still take place.
Around with these characters that we're missing, or is just there's something that is thrown in there just to throw us off?
No,
maybe I'm thinking either.
I think this has to do with the time stone, and like I said, this has to do, and like whether it goes back to Sean's little hex thing where the time stone finds its way into the good guy's hands and they're able to go backtrack, and Ant-Man could just be responding to the Avengers as they are in present day at that point in time, while the other Avengers, because they, and I'm using the reason why you see him there, because that's the Ant-Man we know currently, going back into the time to that Battle of New York to let the Avengers know, hey,
No, that's what I'm saying.
yeah. So, but like I said, this all goes
It
back
could
to
either the time travel stuff.
yeah.
It could also be, I don't know if you guys are, what do you guys think of this though? It could be the time travel stuff. It could also be parallel dimension, parallel universes, parallel multiverse.
Multiverse.
I don't think they're gonna bring the whole multiverse aspect into the cinematic universe. That's too much of a clusterfuck in comics as it is. They've never done it. They've yet to do it right comic wise, in my opinion. Neither company has done it, so I don't think they're even gonna touch that. You know, they'll do
this. Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid, right? Just
exactly,
time travel, which is super simple.
Just keep it what it's supposed to be. Keep it to the source material, even if you just enhance it a little bit.
So Captain Marvel is supposed to be, and they've stated this, and the director of Captain Marvel has already said this, that he said it's freaking amazing being able to direct a movie with a character this strong. And Kevin Feige's also stated that Captain Marvel is going to be by far the strongest superhero that we have. Do you think it's all going to be on her shoulders to get this gauntlet off of Thanos?
I think this sucks because I understand when it comes to cosmic characters, the Captain Marvel mantra should be powerful, but not the most powerful on the top of the lines of like Thanos. So
no.
From what they're saying, she will be the central piece of that fourth film. She's going to take a huge role. And
I'm not saying she's more powerful than Thanos. I'm saying
I didn't say she was going to be more powerful than Thanos. I said that they're going to put her on the same line strength wise. I didn't say more powerful. I said the fact that they're going to put her up there along those lines. And if it works, I'm all for it. I have no problem with it. I just think, from what I've seen before, previous incarnations of the Captain Marvel character, even the male man versions of Captain Marvel, they've never been of that high caliber power structure. So I'm wondering how they're going to play it off. So.
And do you think they're going to do anything with Nova?
I hope so.
In the next one, maybe in the next film, show us something that happens at the Battle of Xandar when Thanos went there and destroyed it.
I would hope
maybe Nova shows up or something after. That'd be really cool, I think.
And I hope, to be honest, I hope it's the young kid Nova along the same age of Parker. Because that's,
you mean like the animated?
No, like he is in the books. He's a young kid. The only sole wearer of the Nova helmet and bands is a young kid. And I think that would help.
That's pretty.
That would help relate to having that Spider-Man aspect without actually having Spider-Man, at least for the moment.
Yeah, and also extend the length of the universe because you have the older guys in their mid-40s, late 40s, and 50s now with Robert Downey Jr.
Right.
And you have the younger guys who are just 20 years old, 21 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, in real life, I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that'd be actually a good way to balance it out. I'm excited. We got 2 movies until then. We got Ant-Man and the Wasp, which new trailer just came out for. Which, Eddie, did you watch it? Ellen and I watched it. Are you guys excited for that one? Ghost, pretty cool.
I'm as excited as I was from when the first one came out. So I have the same level of excitement for Ant-Man. So I'm expecting a lot of fun out of this one.
Me too. It looks fun.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. I want to see it be a fun movie and add some of like the caper stuff.
And
things
I think they did this on
cool,
purpose because they knew how serious of tone Infinity War was. They figure, okay, let's lighten it a bit by putting Ant-Man right behind it because this is like a refreshing.
But I also like the idea where they set up Captain Marvel 2 months before Avengers 4 comes out.
Yeah, but it's a.
You don't want them to, or you think they have?
I like that idea. It sets it up real nice.
Oh yeah. They're doing it in the 90s, so I like it because there's things that are going to happen with Captain Marvel that there are other like statements from like Nick Fury in the first Avengers when he says like, well, why they're in the thing? Because I was just watching the Avengers this weekend actually. That when they're like, "What? Oh, you're making these Phase 2 weapons." And he goes, "Why are you making them?" And there's like, "Because of guys like him." And he points at Thor, right? He goes, "Asgard has no fight with you." And he goes, "Quarrel with you?" And he goes, "Yeah, but not all people from every planet are like you." I think at that point, it was a broad statement so that they can incorporate this type of film in here in the 90s. They kept it broad, vague, I should say. Not knowing that they're making a Captain Marvel film, but it allows for this to happen in the 90s. Like Lynn said, it's a nice, I mean, Lynn, like Eddie said, it's cool to have that set up in the 90s. It's something totally different.
I'm wondering with the Kree if they're going to tease us with a little bit of the Skrulls in there.
That'd be interesting. Well, Ronan is in Captain Marvel. Huh?
Yeah.
Ronan is Captain Marvel, and so was another character. I forgot who it was.
Ronan,
That's no longer.
and Nick Fury. Ronan and Coulson and Nick Fury are all in Captain Marvel.
Also, you remember the one guy in Guardians that when Star-Lord takes the little ball and he says, "I'm Star-Lord," he was like, "Who?" That guy, he's also coming back.
Dejan Hansu, or whatever his name is. Yeah, he's in there too. So it's going to be interesting. I like what the setup's going to be. I think it's going to really, going to kick off number 4, and that one comes out in March, and then so that means 2 months later we'd get Avengers 4. Which now the big question before we sign off for today: what do you guys think the title's going to be?
I want to hear Eddie and your thoughts first before I say my name, because I think I have a pretty good idea what it is. I think.
I was originally thinking Infinite Gauntlet, but I'm not really sure anymore based on what I've been reading on and off. And I'm trying to avoid any type of spoilers for 4.
Okay.
So.
Here's what I think, and this is the easy one that a lot of people are saying as well. Now that I thought of this when I first saw it, I was like, "This is a perfect name for it," and a lot of people are agreeing. I think is Endgame, Avengers Endgame.
See, I've heard different. I've heard Avengers Assemble.
That's what I've heard too, as well.
I've heard
cool.
I've heard Avengers Assemble, and it would be nice because they've never used that phrase yet.
Never used.
Yet.
Yeah. So I was gonna say it'd be nice to have that as a title, and they actually.
It would be nice, but I think because I think the Russos are going to use some type of Infinity clause to it, and they could call it Avengers Assemble, the Infinity Gauntlet. You know, they could still do that, or
so that fills a sentence.
Or they could turn around and just call it Avengers Assemble, the Infinity Crusade, because they're trying to get back. Because the Infinity Crusade was the 3rd series in the Infinity Gauntlet storyline, but you know they don't have to use any references to that, but they could use that title because now you got the Avengers crusading for the Infinity Stone, try to reshape time and space back to normal and get everybody back at the same time assembling together, because they're still not together as a whole unit at the end of this film, nor were they throughout this film.
So Nebula is going to have to drive Iron Man back in the.
See, I think Tony's going to take some electronics out of what's left on Titan, build a ship, have Nebula pilot, and that's how he'll get back to Earth in a heartbeat.
Well, the big donut that he called it, so eloquent, is busted up into like 6 pieces. And
but
huge.
But he's an engineering genius.
Yeah, but they have the Necro phase ship right there, so I think they're just gonna jump in there and fly back to Earth or whatever.
But he'll soup it up somehow.
I'm wondering how he's gonna get off, but get off the planet. But I don't know what else though. I like the Avengers Assemble. That's actually a cool name. I read about that one. I was thinking Endgame because it was so prominent in what Strange said. He goes, "This is the Endgame," you know, and so that could totally fit. And a lot of people are thinking that as well. Do you guys think? I partially think that the Russo brothers are gonna be listening to what people say and are gonna try to surprise us and not have it be anything that people have guessed.
I could see them do that, but that's why I'm saying they could go with Infinity Crusade. They could even just say, you know what, because what's her name, who plays Gamora, actually let the cat out of the bag supposedly, that it was called the Infinity Gauntlet. And that could change from here on. That could have changed right after that interview, you know.
Yeah.
Or they could turn around and say, you know what, we'll just keep it. Everybody's going to think we're going to change it because of this slip up. Let's just keep it. You know, they might pull a fast one that way. So.
I think they're gonna do the same thing with marketing as they did with this one. They're gonna feed us stuff that's not accurate to tease us.
And I
love it.
And my thing is, I will see that running image from Wakanda in this second film.
That's what you think?
That's what I think. I think they purposely filmed it to throw it at us.
It's gonna be a redo after the Time Stone.
Right. It'll be like right before it'll start up right before when he flashes in to Earth, and that's instead of Banner in the Hulkbuster armor, it'll be him as Hulk running towards them.
That could be interesting. Could be true.
It worked for Back to the Future. That's all I can say.
So I think we are all out of theories and thoughts. We might have something pop up. If we haven't stated it now, please let us know and let's get a conversation going. Eddie, any last words? What would you grade this film as, and last opinions on the film?
I would give this movie an A because it really was entertaining for me, at least. And my thoughts is basically is Marvel really outdid its stuff. It is really throwing everything out there now. It's basically to smack DC and just say, get the hell out of the way. My opinion.
Well, I got news on DC when it comes to their ideas.
No,
that's for the podcast. No, this is news for the podcast.
Lynn, you already gave it a grade. Are you sticking with that?
I'm sticking it with this grade after watching it a second time. I still want to watch it another 2 more times just to completely absorb it, because this is definitely one movie that nobody should pass up seeing in theaters. See it in IMAX if you can. See it in Dolby if you can. See it in the most pristine fashion that you can. Because the second time I saw it on a regular screen, and I hated myself for doing it, but I did it because it was the cheapest way to get 4 people to go see one movie. But
yeah, you gave it an A+.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. All right. And I stick with that.
And this is an A+ kind of film for me. It's up there. I have to think of it, but it's probably now my favorite Marvel movie. Yes, and please, like Lynn said, go see it. You want to go see this movie on IMAX. This movie was filmed entirely with IMAX cameras. So if you don't see it on IMAX, you don't get the sound, and you miss out on 25% every time you watch it. And when lines for the Guardians, so that they would still feel like the Guardians. They did such a great job with this that we've never seen done before. It was a smooth, cohesive film. If there are plot holes, which people say there are, and I think they're super minimal, if anything, and it's stuff it doesn't hurt the movie at all. The movie's awesome. Really love the movie, and yeah. So, you guys, any last words before we sign off?
This is what happens when you let a comic company keep control of its characters, let it put out the movie it wants to, and this is what you get. You get a home run. When you don't have so many people putting their 2 cents in, whether it's the film studio or what have you, you just let the people who know the characters best pick the right people to do their films. This is what you get. You get pristine films, 10 years worth of films. People were saying that we're coming to the comic fatigue, that people are going to get tired of comic book films.
I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not. This just reinvigorated me to want more of these films because of the plot points, because of the storytelling. And that's what's been key for all the Marvel films, is the storytelling.
Especially in Phase 2 and going into Phase 3 and putting out different types of films.
This is a sci-fi film classic along the lines of The Empire Strikes Back, along the lines of Aliens. This is one that will be remembered for a long time coming. Out of all the Marvel films, this is the only one. This is the one that's going to have the biggest impact.
People say this is like Empire Strikes Back. I think this ends on a more downer note than Empire Strikes I'm gonna be the one to say it.
I was looking at more of a shock point.
Well, the way I see it, as growing up, being a kid, watching Empire and watching my rebels getting their asses handed to them by the Empire, losing a Han Solo, Luke losing his hand, is a
But
lot.
you didn't lose Han Solo. He didn't die. He just got put in carbonite.
Well, no. At the end of that, it was basically
at that time you didn't know.
You didn't know he was going to be alive.
I'm saying though, he was in carbonite. He wasn't killed like. He didn't
as an
disappear,
8-year-old watching The Empire Strike Back, you saw him as dead.
Yep.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's what we thought of when we saw the end of Empire. We thought Han was done. There's no way we were going to see him. Betrayed by one of his best friends. Luke lost his hand. Vader is fucking Luke's father? What?
Yeah,
what the fuck?
Yeah, it's like...
Because now he has a daddy.
So, yeah, that's the whole downer of Empire. And it was more grounded in reality, just like Infinity War is. You lose guys that you don't expect to lose. You see the superheroes actually lose everything, which is not something you're used to seeing.
Not in many movies at all.
Right.
Like then you get here and there where they
pull it out at that last second.
Yeah.
And this is one of those movies that you don't get that, and I love that for it.
So, all right, so that's gonna wrap it up for us, guys. We gave you probably an hour and a half.
Well, I don't even know. Probably
because we're at 2 hours and 22 minutes right now. Probably about an hour and a half of Avengers Infinity War spoiler review. Eddie, where can they find you? Where can they play some games with you? Follow you on Twitter?
It is Closet.
Nowhere right now until I reconnect my Xbox and my PlayStation 4.
I know where to find you, Eddie, on Disney Emoji Blitz. You keep getting first place out of my friends, and I keep getting second place.
That's because the rest of the world doesn't care about that game, minus you two.
No, they do, but me and Eddie are scoring in the 1.7, 1.8 million range. Lynn, where can people find you?
Right here on AK Geeks. If not, you can catch me on Xbox and PS4 under the gamer tag Ash Darkthorn. Hit us up. We still got to play some Sea of Thieves. Get that into.
Yes. Now that I got the headset.
Hopefully it works on your system.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, but I guess I'll run solo on the podcast then, since nobody wants to be around for it, tomorrow.
Well, here was my thoughts: is that this is a full hour and a half that you could probably put up as the podcast too.
Yeah, but there's no reference to anything else.
I know. So, for Lynn, for Eddie, thank you guys for joining us. We very much appreciate it. I'm Sean. Make sure you guys stay tuned for all of our future reviews and all of our future videos. We have a lot of fun stuff coming your guys' way. And again, thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Peace.